to frame the rules in Supreme Court Rules 1980, what was 37B then?
But it would still apply.
No, but what was it?
I'm not aware of that, but
Check.
yes. So my submission before your lordship is that even if one looks at the structure of the sentence, save as otherwise provided by law, the contemplation of even while framing the rules is that there can be an act of parliament. Now, what is the relationship between that act of parliament and the rules? That is a crucial question. But there can be no question about the fact that rules, act of parliament can be on practice and procedure of the Supreme Court.
No, it can't.
So that's my first point.
Just a moment.
First
of all, you are asking us to read a definition which does not say law but says Pakistani law in the specific context of Article 191 and the Supreme Court rules. Okay, that's your argument. But you say that law...
I don't know what you say. I still have to note it. Can you please complete your thought? So let me understand what you are saying. So then the question, I will understand the question also. If you're not so quick at understanding, can you please complete your submissions from your own mouth? Let us hear it.
My submission is that the word...
Let me first ask up to whatever you said.
Please,
now.
can you I don't know the question has to follow a submission. Please, can you conclude your submission, Mr. Siddiqui? Otherwise, we'll have to spend forever on this case.
Sir, may I...
आप जरा अपना conclude कर लें submissions.
May I just... Thank you, sir. Thank you. Sir, my submission...
I can't follow what you're saying.
Sir, my submission is that the word law, as it occurs in Article 191, includes acts of Parliament. And an indication of that, a clear indication of that is given in the rules as framed in 1980, because the language, for example, used in Order 11 talks about save as otherwise provided by law. That clearly indicates that one is talking about statutory law.
Okay, next point.
Yes, yes. And that of course is buttressed by the definition.
Just before you carry on to your next point, I think, if I may ask, in the 1956 Constitution, you will recall that there was a specific article which said that words and phrases not defined in the Constitution shall have the same meaning as in the General Clauses Act.
Yes.
That was in the 1956 Constitution.
Yes.
Is there any equivalent in the 1973 Constitution? As far as I can remember,
I don't...
Mr. Faisal Siddiqui, you have
I'm
been
not aware of it.
You have been rightly stumped. Please persist with your submissions.
Therefore, my question to you is that here we have to look at the word law as used in Article 191, because the rule-making power is conferred by Article 191. So any definition, anything that goes in the Supreme Court Rules 1980 has to be consistent with the language of Article 191.
I'll come to that. My short answer...
You focus on that.
Yes.
What does law mean over there?
My short answer to that.
I think council...
Sir, I'll just complete my
I
submission.
think council is entitled to argue any which way they want to. Let us hear you.
Yes.
I have to hear you decide what you say, and if we have already formed opinions, we can reflect them in our judgments. Please continue, otherwise we will never conclude these hearings.
This is a question that as a judge of the court sitting on this bench, I am able to ask.
Of course, ask it. Let the council finish his submissions.
If I'm interrupted all the time, I'm sorry to say, sir, that is not proper.
I think the interruption is of learned council. Chale learned council, aap aage badhein.
I am asking council a question, which is my right to ask the council. If he wants to answer
after he concludes his submissions with the greatest of respect.
If he doesn't want to, that's his issue. That's not my issue. You understood the question now?
My lord, I'll answer that question. Let me just finish this submissions on competence and then I'll address this question. My lord, so I think there can be no doubt about what the word law means in Article 191 in the context type. But if your lordship requires a constitutional context, then subject to law also occurs in the Constitution. It has been interpreted by your lordships of what that means. And that has been interpreted as meaning an act of parliament. A recent judgment on this is a judgment authored by Justice Mansoor Ali Shah Sahab in the extension case, which is PLD 2020 Supreme Court, page 1. And your lordships are aware, if your lordships look at 243, sub-article 3, which contained the same language, although subject to law was not in the beginning but in the middle. The President subject to law. And His Lordship Justice Mansoor Ali Shah in para 27 of that judgment said this means an act of parliament. So there, another judgment, my lord, on this would be the Baskakar case. Now, if your lordship, as your lordships are aware.
Baskakar.
Ji.
Baskakar. Okay.
Whether law has been defined in the Constitution?
No, no. Existing law has been defined.
Kindly see 260.
Federal law is also.
Federal law has been defined.
Ji, law has not been defined. Existing
Federal law has been
Ji,
defined.
federal law has been
Sir, please continue your arguments.
When 191 says of a law, does it talk of existing law or does it include a law that subsequently may be legislated?
It cannot talk about existing law because existing law is a defined term in the Constitution under Article 260. And that is a reference to Article 268, sub-Article 7. So when existing law is used, it's a defined term in the Constitution.
So where it is defined, then the Constitution must have used the term existing law somewhere.
Yes. In
Where is that?
260.
No, वो तो defined हुई है ना?
It is in 260.
Other than the
260
definition, where in what articles, what other articles has this term been used?
It has been used in 268. It has been defined